Good morning. This is our fourth online session. This is for learning activity number 3. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to share some basic information related to the learning activity and a little few websites for you guys to do some exercises. Okay. All right, good. So this is the platform. We go to activity number 3, and we're gonna have this document, learning activity number 3, and you click here to download the document. So basically, you click on this section here, and you click here to download the document. This is a PDF file where you have all the information related to the unit number 3, sorry. So aquí hay aprendizaje número 3. Bienvenidos a la actividad de aprendizaje 3, compartir información para tomar decisiones haciendo uso de la estructura gramatical y el vocabulario apropiado del programa de formación English That Works 5. And we have some more information, and it says identificación de la guía de aprendizaje, programa de información English That Works 5, resultado de aprendizaje, intercambiar información para tomar decisiones haciendo uso de la estructura gramatical y del vocabulario requerido. Then we will have the activities for this unit. Activity number 1. Consulte el botón Activity 3 en el menú programa para Material Environmental Consciousness. That is the next that we're going to do. So Material Environmental Consciousness. Estudiar material, Environmental Consciousness, and support material. You can go to internet and do more exercises, or contact me via the questions and answers forum. That is activity number 1. Activity number 2. Environmental issues. Evidence. For this evidence, you will have to make a PowerPoint presentation or another tool that you consider is relevant and possible for this activity. You will have to read the information about some environmental problems and then choose only one of those problems and write your opinion about it. Your opinion has to give answers to this question. What do you think about the problem? What would be a possible solution for it? Do you see this problem in your community? What do people do about it? And what will you do in the future to help solve this problem? That is evidence number 1. Evidence number 2 is an interactive activity, Our World. The idea is that you click on the evidence, click here, and do the instructions. On the platform. The next evidence is recycling campaign. For this evidence, you have to make a recycling campaign here. for your school or company. You have to make a poster and explain your partners in an audio recording the information about the poster. Then we have another evidence, that is the story of bottled water. For this evidence, you have to watch a video about the problem and then make an audio recording to answer the following questions. What are the problems derived from drinking bottled water? Mention 2 problems at least. What is the difference between bottled water and drinking water? Describe the process involved in manufacturing a plastic bottle. And what happens with the plastic bottles after we throw them away? What solutions can be implemented to solve this problem? And is this problem common in your community? What does the community do to deal with it? Will you drink bottled water again? Why or why not? And what will you do in the future to reduce the number of plastic bottles used in the world? You have to answer all these questions for this evidence. Then we have the online session today, and this is the general summary of the evidence. We have 1, environmental issues, 2, interactive activity, our world, 3, recycling campaign, online session, and the story of bottled water. This is the criteria. You will use will, when or if, exchange information, and use the vocabulary. And this is some of the vocabulary that you need to use, that you will need to study in-house with a little more time. Okay. So this is the first document. The second document is this material, environmental consciousness, downloadable version. We have a general introduction here. In the introduction, they say that we will study the first and second conditional and the vocabulary and expressions related to environmental consciousness. This is what you will learn about. Will for spontaneous decisions, environmental consciousness, zero conditional, contrast between if and when, first conditional, and the vocabulary for environmental facts. So will for spontaneous decision is the number 1. You have one example here. The idea is that when we make a spontaneous decision or instant decision about the future, we use will. Usually the decision is about short-term plans or simple activities. Look at the conversations. Do you have any plans for tonight? I think I will go to Joanna's party. This decision is in that specific moment. Second example. I feel terrible. I will call the doctor. Is not a prediction, is not a plan, is a decision in that specific moment. Good. This is the grammatical structure: subject, auxiliary will, verb and complement in affirmative. In negative we use will not. And in questions, I change the position of the auxiliary will. Number 2 is environmental consciousness. We have some concepts like what is recycling, what is reusing, the benefits of recycling and reusing, saving energy, conserving natural resources, reducing pollution, and reducing the amount of waste. And this is the vocabulary connected to this. We have a description of possible solutions like ride a bike, sell a car, or only buy what you really need. Avoid using or buying plastic products. Grow your own food, and recycle containers and reuse bags. These are some of the possible solutions, and this is the example that you have for your evidence. Topic number 3 is zero conditional. Zero conditional means that we have one condition, for example, if you eat too much, and then we have a consequence, you get fat. The condition is in present, and the consequence is in present. That is zero conditional. And then you have an example. So, do you like sports, Nicole? Of course I do. I love riding my bike. The conversation continues. How often do you ride your bike? Well, I don't have much free time, but if I have to go somewhere nearby, I ride my bike. So the condition is in present, and the consequence, the result, is in present. And we have more examples here. For that reason, the zero conditional refers to a situation that is always true. It can refer to universal facts or to general situations that always occur. We have one example, two examples, and the grammatical structure for this unit. Okay, so we have the information. The condition and the result are in simple present. You have some examples here, and some examples where you can change the position. In this case, the condition is in the number 1, but in this case, the condition is in the number 2. The difference is that in the second situation, I use no comma, and in the first situation, I use a comma. Good. Then we have some more other examples and exercises. Good. Then we have the first conditional. It's a little different. We have a conversation in an example. The condition is, if I don't have to work, I will go with you. What is the difference? In this case, I use will. I am using will because it's a condition and a consequence for the future. The condition is in present, but the result is in future. That is the difference. In conditional 0, condition and consequence are in present. In conditional 1 or first conditional, the condition is in present, but the result is in the future. Then we have some other examples here. And the possible situations in which we use the conditions. Good. Finally, we have the vocabulary about environmental facts. We have some vocabulary like garbage, habitat, trees, oil waste, population, etc. So the idea is that you guys study all this vocabulary that is necessary for your evidence. Good. We have extra material here. You can study this material in your house. And then we have the evidence. Number 1, environmental issues. Number 2, interactive activity. Number 3, recycling campaign. Number 4, the start of boiled water. And number 5, the online session. Good. Now I'm going to share with you some websites for you to do exercises. So the name is Conditionals. Exercises. You click there. I suggest this website, EnglishPage.com. It's very complete. We have a conditional forms tutorial, we have a test, we have a chart, and we have all these exercises. We have conditionals in the present, or conditional 0. And conditionals in the past. You can just explore all the information in this website, which is very good. Okay. So we have 0 conditional here, or present conditional. And future real conditional. So what you're going to study is present conditional and future conditional, future real conditional. The other conditionals are a little more complicated, so I don't really recommend doing those exercises. Good. You can also go to Google and say 0 and first conditionals exercises. And you find the exercises in this website. You click on these exercises. And there you go. You have lots of exercises to do. Choose the correct option, etc., etc. Okay, good. So that's it. That's the information I had to share with you today. I hope this was information useful for you. And remember, you can contact me via the Questions and Concerns forum. You can also contact me via internal messaging or via the WhatsApp group. Thank you for attending and participating in this session. Have a good day.